work ahead. Yeah, I sure hope it does.
However, indications are we get back into a stormy pattern later next week, and it looks to continue into the week after that. Of course, if you didn't know that.
Doko, do you like eggs? Don't just lick it. It is no sucker. Bite the egg. Boy, what are you doing? Look at this guy. Taco, bite it. It's a hard-boiled egg. Maybe he doesn't want to eat it. Oh, yeah, there he goes. He's just like, oh, I can bite it. Oh, he's reached the yolk.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode by Brennan World, to the brand new day vlog, and, so as promised last episode, or last day vlog, I was gonna do my review for Ready Player One, so here it is, just gonna get right into it. So, Ready Player One is directed by arguably the best and most well-known directors of all time, Steven Spielberg. It is the film adaptation of the sci-fi novel written by Ernest Cline, who is also one of the writers of this film. It stars Ty Sheridan as Wade/Parzival, Olivia Cooke as Samantha/Artemis with a three as the E, Lena Waithe as Helen/H spelled Aech, Philip Zao as Sho, Win Morisaki as Dido, Ben Mendelsohn as Nolan Sorrento, DJ Miller as IROC, and not like IROC like the place. It's capital I dash capital R-O lowercase k. And then Mark Rylance as James Halliday/Anorak, and Simon Pegg as Ogden Morrow. It is about a virtual reality program that was created in 2021 by James Halliday and Ogden Morrow, but Halliday split up with Morrow to work on his own up until his death in 2039. And he left a video of him announcing a quest for 3 keys to unlock the golden Easter egg for complete ownership and control over the Oasis. So, in 2045, pretty much everyone lives in the Oasis, as shown when Wade was descending from his house down to a secret gaming lair place, because he lives in a dystopia version of Columbus, Ohio, in a place called the Stacks, where all the houses are small trailer home type places stacked on top of each other and held together by bars. He goes to a car junkyard place where he goes through a tunnel of cars to a camper van where he has his decorations and his setup, including many posters of, like, James Halliday, and even the poster, Vote for Goldwyn Mayer, I believe, from the first Back to the Future. One of the many Easter eggs. So he explains everything with an awesome fly-through of the Oasis, including Mount Everest with Batman climbing it, can't remember what his name is. Oh yeah, Michael Keaton Batman. The Great Pyramids, and even a Minecraft world with blocks flying together to form buildings, which was an awesome little touch. And then he changes his avatar to what it is for the rest of the movie and talks to his best friend H, who is currently collecting tons of coins in Planet Doom. And he is like a cyborg orc type avatar with a cool extending torso thing, and he fights people like Freddy Krueger during that scene. Once they meet up, they join a race with tons of twin soldiers called Sixers from a business called IOI, which is ran by Nolan Sorrento, and they have a huge building where each person stays in the battle room, battling from their individual setups. Anyway, at the start line, vehicles like the Speed Racer car, the A-Team van, Mad Max's car, the classic 1960s Batmobile, etc. are seen, but Parzival spawns in the DeLorean from, of course, Back to the Future, and H spawns in the Bigfoot monster truck, and they race once the virtual New York City transforms, and a firework pops out of the Statue of Liberty's torch. A woman on the motorcycle from Akira shows up and gets closest to winning, but no one does because they get chased by a T-Rex from Jurassic Park. And then King Kong jumps off the tower from being attacked by the planes and makes it impossible to reach the finish line. So Parzival stops the woman named Artemis so she doesn't, die. King Kong crushes her motorcycle, but the two go to H's workshop and he fixes it right up and shows them his Iron Giant that he's making. And after that, H says that he is falling in love with her, and she could be some guy living in his parents' basement in Detroit in real life. He goes back to real life, where we find out that his parents died, and so he lives with this aunt and her abusive boyfriend, who hits Wade for giving him a glove that got him killed in the Oasis. And it was showing earlier that people care about it so much that they freak out and destroy stuff if they die, and one guy even throws off his headset and tries jumping out of the window to end it all, but a co-worker stops him. But Wade sees an ad for a full Oasis suit called the X1, where you can actually feel things happening in the Oasis, and it glows where you feel it. He orders it in the Oasis and gets it in real life, and he heads back into the Oasis, where he meets up with a fancy British robot that owns a library of animated versions of all of Halliday's journals. And he figures out the clue to winning the race to go backwards. So he goes back and enters a green line, Tron-looking place, where he can see the race happening above, and then he goes up a ramp right to the finish, where Halliday's avatar, a wizard named Anorak, gives him the first key, the copper key, and his first clue. And after that, he is a celebrity in the Oasis, and a crazed fan takes him and throws him into a portal into a small room, where a chestburster from the Alien franchise pops out of his chest, munches up his chest, and then the skin falls off, revealing Artemis with a chestburster arm. And she then disguises Parzival as Clark Kent, and she just puts the glasses on, and then he just starts looking like Clark Kent with the suit and everything, just kind of making fun of how Clark Kent's like, oh, it's Superman, oh, he put the glasses on, oh, it's just Clark Kent. But yeah, so the next clue is something to do with Holliday's greatest regret, and so the two head to a nightclub place with people dancing while floating. But earlier, Sorrento got on his awesome Oasis chair setup thing and came in as a big businessman who kind of looked like a character from that movie, Small Soldiers, if any of you guys remember that. And he meets up with his partner, IROC, who is an awesome-looking monster person with a metallic skull torso with holes for the eyes going through his torso. And he goes to the same nightclub, and after dancing for a while, Parzival says that he wants to meet Artemis in real life, and then he says that his real name is Wade. And she freaks out because now IROC has caught on and sends tons of Sixers after them, but they escape. And in real life, IOI goes after Wade after telling his avatar that the stacks are about to blow up. And then the drones put bombs on the bars as Wade gets out of his gear and starts running to his house while calling his aunt, but her boyfriend picks up and jokes around, and then the whole stack blows up and falls, just missing Wade. He goes back to the Oasis, but then a man with a face tattoo knocks him out with chloroform, and Wade wakes up in a building with tents and a girl. She speaks, and Wade tells her to talk again. She does, and he finds out that she is Artemis, but her real name is Samantha. And she has a big face birthmark thing. Anyway, she hangs out with people who run her Oasis setup, and the building is near downtown, near the IOI building. And the two bond on the roof until Samantha figures out that the actual hint to the second key. And so the two of them go in together, join up with H and Artemis's two friends, Sho and Dido, and the two head to a creation hated by its own original creator, The Shining. They enter through a movie theater and then into the main room from the movie in the Overlook Hotel from the movie, and starts watching the timer in the form of flying away sheets from the typewriter. And H talks to Sho about how scary the movie is, but then a tennis ball hits his foot and he wanders off, finding the two twin girls, and he asks them if they need help out, but then they walk into the elevator and the blood flies out, making him go washing away, until he finds the safety room of room 237. He finds the woman in the bathtub, and she starts walking to him, and he starts going with it, right as she turns into the zombie skeleton woman thing and attacks him. And then he finally meets back up with the rest of the team, but then they get trapped in the snowy bush maze, and they get attacked by a giant axe and Jack Torrance, until they figure out to go to the ballroom where there are floating dancing zombie people with one girl who is Kira, the woman that Halliday failed with, so Artemis saves her, getting the second key, the Jade Key, from Anorak. And overall, that was definitely one of my most favorite scenes in the film. Anyway, back in real life, IOI finds the building and invades, and Samantha stays behind while she makes Wade escape, and IOI takes her in to use her in the slave pods, where they work as work slaves in the Oasis. But in an alleyway, Wade finds a tomboy that sounds just like H, but with a lighter voice, and she says, "Yeah, I'm just living in my parents' basement in Detroit." And Wade is so happy since he found H in real life too. And the two go to Helen's van as the real life Dido comes out to fend off some drones. And then they get on it, and Wade meets the last real life member of the clan, Sho, who turns out to be an 11-year-old boy. They then set up Oasis setups in the van and go in to confront Sorrento and rescue Artemis. Earlier, when Sorrento offered Parzival money for the keys, he saw his profile's password on a sticky note on his chair, so Parzival, Cho, and Dido hack his account right as he takes off his headset. So Wade confronts him in what he thinks is real life, but then walks out, pulls off his face, and it turns out that it was actually in the Oasis, and Dido is keeping watch over him in real life, until he touches his face, and then it switches to real life with him taking his actual headset off. And another thing, this is one of the few little Easter eggs I didn't notice, but I was talking to my film teacher at school about it, and he said that Sho and Dido's eyes actually had like the glow hue, kind of reflecting the light. Which, if you don't know what that's from, it's from Blade Runner, because the replicants, like, they kind of have like a reflecting light, so their eyes kind of give off an orange or a gold glow. So yeah, I didn't notice that, but that was kind of cool now that I know about it. And that was a cool Inception type scene. And then they talk to Samantha over her headset while she is in one of the slave pods, and they step her through how to escape. And so she escapes, but still doesn't meet up with the rest of her clan. Instead, she goes and gets hooked up to one of the setups in the battle room. Then the final battle starts as Parzival makes an announcement to everyone in the Oasis to get ready to battle and to not care if they have to sacrifice their coins in progress. The clan heads to Planet Doom and waits until everyone shows up, and then the battle commences. It shows things like Master Chief and other Spartans from the Halo franchise running up, Battletoads, Tracer from Overwatch, Joker and Harley Quinn, some Gremlins, Lara Croft from Tomb Raider, Robocop, Marvin the Martian, some of the Angry Birds using their slingshot, Predator, one of the Michael Bay Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, some of the Transformers, and an insane amount of other cameos that Mr. Sunday Movies on YouTube made a whole 15-minute video alone about. So check that out if you want to know most of the pop culture references in this film. Anyway, earlier in this movie, Parzival also bought a Zemeckis Cube, which is a Rubik's Cube bomb, and he uses it during the final battle. And that is obviously a reference to Robert Zemeckis, the director of films such as Back to the Future, Forrest Gump, Castaway, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, etc. And the battle is awesome and very well directed because Steven Spielberg knows how to direct battles with tons of characters, making every character individually distinguishable, and makes you feel like you are actually flying through watching. And for the battle, H activates her Iron Giant and heads into the battle, and it even has the same sounds and even a little dent on his head. And Parzival drives around in his DeLorean and spawns in Chucky and throws him out the window onto a group of Sixers, making their setups in real life light up red, right after one of the best lines when one of the Sixer operators yells, "F Chucky." But then his DeLorean gets wrecked, and so he runs while everyone uses Halo guns like the Type 51 carbine rifle and the railgun, also knocking out tons of Sixers. And then Dido uses his samurai avatar to spawn in the RX-78-2 mech samurai person from Gundam. And so Sorrento walks out after IROC activates the impenetrable force field over their base, and he spawns in a giant Godzilla mech that even uses, you can kind of hear the Godzilla theme song too during that, to battle the Iron Giant and the RX-78-2. And IROC guards the orb, but Artemis is disguised as a Sixer and uses a drone to fly over and recite the secret verse to deactivate it. And so everyone storms toward the unguarded base. And while all this is going on, Sixers are taking turns playing classic Atari video games that IOI interns pick out to try finding it which one can be the one to get the third key. And if they lose, they fall through ice and die. But the final one is the game Adventure. And one Sixer plays for longer than any of the other Sixers. But anyway, Dido's time runs out and he is slashing through the giant Godzilla, so now he is back to normal, but Artemis appears at one of the eyes, and Sorrento's avatar says her. And then she kills his avatar, and so back in real life, he says that she is in the battle room, and he starts taking off the headsets to find her. The Iron Giant gets beat up and makes a bridge for the rest of the clan to get across the lava river, but then he falls in and gives a thumbs up as he sinks in, just like on Terminator 2 Judgment Day. And Parzival tells Artemis to find them in real life, but she needs to get out of IOA, and then he shoots her avatar, and a general comes up to her, tells her to get it together and to go back to the respawn center, and she escapes right as Sorrento was coming up right behind her. And IOI catches on to Helen's van, and so Sorrento, some Sixers, and his real-life second-in-command Finale Zandor, played by Hannah John Kamen, chase them, and they see all of the citizens on the streets battling midair since they are all in the Oasis. Okay. And they see all the citizens on the streets battling midair since they are all in the Oasis. But then the big bomb gets activated, which blows up, ending every avatar in the Oasis, and it is seemingly all over. But then Parzival respawns with all of his stats still there and pulls out the quarter that he was given earlier by the fancy British library robot guy. But then Parzival gave it to Artemis, but she then gave it back to him. He flips it over and it says extra life. So he then goes to the adventure game and starts playing it as it is being broadcasted live everywhere. And he discovers that it was never about winning it was about playing the game. And he finds the invisible dot, brings it back to the main screen, and the game's creator's name shows up. He says that the creator wanted to be known, but not easily, so he created the first ever video game Easter egg. And then Anorak shows up to give him the last key, the crystal key. He takes it but cannot get into the crystal keyhole because IOI's van is hitting Helen's van, making his avatar lose control. But he eventually gets it and enters a room with Anorak and the golden Easter egg. And then Anorak sits him down and gives him the contract and a pen to sign to own the Oasis. But right as he is about to sign, he denies and says that he's not going to make the same mistake as Halliday did. And Anorak smiles and takes Parzival to Halliday's childhood room with him as a boy playing video games. And they talk until Halliday finds the egg in a drawer and gives it to Parzival. And he shows him the button on the wall that can end the Oasis, and Parzival flies forward, almost hitting it. Since they get crashed in real life into the stacks, since they crashed in real life into the stacks, and Halliday said, "Don't go too fast on your first day." And earlier, Samantha met the rest of the real life clan, and they see that Wade has got the egg since his gloves are glowing gold. And he turns around right as Sorrento opens the door because he made it through the crowd protecting the van since he held up his pistol. And then the real life Ogden shows up with police, who take in IOI, and Ogden talks to Wade, and then he talks in his fancy British voice, revealing that the robot library avatar was him the whole time. And now, even in real life, the clan are big celebrities, and it turns out that Halliday was just a false hero. So then Samantha and Wade go on with their relationship while now being the owners of the Oasis, and he says that no companies like IOI are ever allowed in the Oasis again, and that is now closed on Tuesdays and Thursdays because, like the creator said, they need to spend a little more time in real life, and then it ends. So overall, Ready Player One was definitely one of Steven Spielberg's better modern movies because his films such as The BFG and War Horse were not too amazing. But this was probably one of the most fun films of all time, in my opinion, especially for geeks that will recognize most of the characters and references, like campers in video games. The score was also decent with, of course, lots of 70s and 80s music. Not too much memorable cinematic music this time, though, since John Williams was already working on the score for Steven Spielberg's The Post at the time they were making Ready Player One. But I also loved all the references, like a few others I have not mentioned yet, like stickers on vehicles like the Sega logo, Space Invaders, Millennium Falcon is mentioned, a Wonder Woman button, and a button with the game Simon is on Helen's clothes, and much more. And I also love how after you watch the movie, the poster becomes amazing, because if you look closely, you can see the ad for the X1 suit on top of the stacks in the background. You can also see Anorak's face, the real-life characters and their avatars, and much more. It was also pretty long with a runtime of 2 hours and 19 minutes, and it luckily did not seem that long, and the visual effects and CGI were stunning, and overall this was definitely a very relevant zeitgeist sci-fi. And lastly, Steven Spielberg keeps his films very personal to his own childhood, and I could just see how this film seemed like it was Steven's young mind just exploding into real-life cinema. But for the cons, the only part that dragged was the third act, with the good length of the final battle. But then they added on Halliday's childhood room and all that, which is good. But if you know the shape of a movie, this third act was way longer than needed. And a complaint that a lot of other people have is the people that made this movie are too old to understand all of it and do all the pop culture stuff correctly. I think that they did just fine. Probably just as long as you were born from the late 70s to the early 2000s, because I was born in 2001 and I got pretty much all of the references and cameos. And Iron Giant was one of my big brothers and I's favorite movies back when we used to watch it all the time on our VHS of it. But also, they're planning to make a sequel in 2021, which I think shouldn't happen because this film is great on its own, but it does not even need a sequel. Not even the book has a sequel yet. And I really don't have any more cons with this film. So overall, Ready Player One is definitely worth a watch and a buy once it comes out on physical media. So that is my whole review for Ready Player One. So again, if you want to know even like pretty much all of the references that it can at least be seen, watch Mr. Sunday Movies. I watch him like all the time. Watch his video on it. And one last thing I want to say is also when he was walking around when he was a celebrity, he got greeted by Beetlejuice and he kind of just walked by and he was just like, "Hey, Parzival." And so that's just another thing to get Beetlejuice in there too. So that's pretty much it for that. So now on to the next thing. Okay guys, so next up, I just had to talk about, you guys know my most anticipated movie for like the past 3.5 years. I've been talking about it like non-stop, but Avengers Infinity War. But you guys know that last day vlog, I had a poster for just this little portion right there, and it was just like bigger, but I put like pretty much all of the posters. Not all of these are like official Marvel ones, but some of them are really cool. All of these ones are by Boss Logic. It makes a lot of fan-made posters, but really well-made ones. Yeah, so, but first off, I just want to say that, about a week and a half ago, I did, order my tickets for, Avengers Infinity War. For this one, me, my little brother, Brayton, and my dad are going, together, and we were gonna go to the opening, but the reason I didn't want to is because it was on Thursday night, and, I'm still in school, of course, and I am when that comes in theaters, so I just didn't want to go see it, and it's 2.5 hours long, the longest MCU movie so far, so I pretty much just have to watch it, get home, and go to bed, but I want to, like, watch it, and then type my review, and, like, really, do that, because I really don't like just, like, going to bed right after I watch a movie, yeah, so I did buy the tickets, very happy to have done that. I think I've only done that with, like, one other movie. I can't even remember what it was, but, like, buying movie, usually we just buy the tickets and we just go on the second day that it's in theaters, but we're doing fine. Yeah, so we're going on Saturday, at, 4 something, the day after it's officially released, because it is, coming out on April 27th, but there's one showing on Thursday night, like always. But we're going to the same showing that we went to Black Panther the second day on the first showing. Yeah, so for my new posters, of course, on this one I showed last episode, it's like all the character posters right there, and then the 3 collectible posters from Comic-Con this past year, all put together, and then the first, like, teaser poster, and then the official poster. But now, I have added, the cool kind of galaxy background, and then Avengers Infinity War right there, and then right here I have all of Boss Logic's things, so you can probably barely see them, but if you go on Boss Logic's Twitter or his Instagram, or just search it up on Google Images, you can see pretty much all of them, but these are all the Infinity War ones, pretty much. I did even put Hawkeye and Ant-Man, even though I'm pretty sure they're not even going to be on Infinity War. But the way I kind of grouped them is, like, if they're basically the Infinity War logo, kind of resembling all the characters. So this one has Loki's helmet with the Tesseract in the middle. That one's, of course, the Infinity Gauntlet. That's Black Panther, Falcon, Bucky, like half black, and then his silver arm. And then that's Iron Man, Spider-Man. I'm not going to go through all these ones. I really like the Ant-Man one with the magnifying glass, Vision, and I put all the Guardians of the Galaxy right there, including Mantis. Yeah, that's kind of how I grouped them up, kind of how they are in Infinity War. This one's kind of boring, but the 6 Infinity Stones, if you look closely, you can see, like, all the characters in them and everything. And then right here, I put the IMAX poster, which is really cool. The only thing I don't like is if you look closely on that, you can't really see it right here, but if you go on Google Images and look at it, Thanos' glove, it's on the right hand, I mean, it's not on the right hand, but it's on the right hand, but it's supposed to be on the left hand. But they, like, put it so it's really far over, and it just looks like it's disconnected, so I don't really like that about that poster. But then right there, these are all the character posters, like the most recently released ones, and I believe there's 22 of them, but it's basically all the characters with, like, the neon blue or neon pinkish reddish, Avengers logo behind them. Yeah, so I got that up, and I will show the rest of my updated movie poster wall, in a little bit. I just want to talk about that real quick. But the other really exciting part is, you guys know that, I went off schedule with this one, just, to get all the videos I need to get up before my Infinity War review. But yes, this is, I believe, the last video before my Infinity War review, so I'm actually doing my Infinity War movie review for the first time ever, on a completely different, separate video, instead of just doing it on Daevlog, which I believe I mentioned before, but yes, that'll be the next video. Very excited to do it. I've already typed what I can of it so far, now I just have to see the movie and everything, and I got pictures, so it's going to be, usually I just do my review, just like standing here, of course, with my camera on the tripod, and then I'll, like, have the poster at the beginning when I first, like, say what the movie is, but this one I'm, like, full on putting pictures everywhere, and really, editing this one and everything, because this is a big one. Yeah, so, right after that, some updated, or my, 2 newest custom LEGO minifigures. I made these a while ago now, actually, but, I made Hawkeye and Thor. Of course, I do have the Thor from the minifigure from Avengers, Age of Ultron right there, with the fabric cape and Mjolnir. But I actually made, like, the Thor Ragnarok. This is actually the, Infinity War one. You can see has his eye patch, and then the shorter hair, which I think looks a lot better, and even my custom-made one I honestly like a lot better than the Legos. And then I actually used a pair of extra Ultron legs that I had from one of his little Ultron droids, because I thought it looked pretty good, and then just added those a little bit, and used my little excuse of not having peach hand, so I used the yellow hand to make it look like it's kind of doing that, like making energy, kind of like what I did with Doctor Strange. But yeah, and then the little markings on the side of his hair, which you can kind of see there, and then his new weapon, the Stormbreaker, and then of course the lightning shooting out of his hands, and then his little torso thing with his cape and everything. But I really like that one. I actually used an extra Tony Stark head that I had, and then scraped off some of the stuff like his black beard and mustache and his eyebrows and stuff, and basically drew that, which I think actually worked pretty darn well. And then back there, Hawkeye, I honestly don't think he's that great, but he's alright, I guess. But he's actually a remake, which I will say he is better than my original one, though. I just didn't have any good hair pieces for him, but I made him better. His bow is definitely a lot more cool. But yeah, so here's a before and after picture of Hawkeye, and then all the pictures for Thor and Hawkeye. So yeah, so just you can see them in some better detail there. So yeah. But then I also made a new custom weapon. You guys know this, where all my like custom weapons and whatnot go. But I actually made it from Lego Ninjago Season 8, the Water and Fire Dragon Blade, which is like the double blade, and you can see it's blue on that side, right on that side, and then they have the little blacksmith's, Kai's dad blacksmith's logo, and then the dragon thing. So that was pretty simple to make, but I thought I might as well just make it, because of course I have those pieces, and just make a little Ninjago weapon. So yeah, so that's it for custom Lego people, or minifigures. But yeah, so next up is a little extra, or a new little movie prop that I made. I just decided to make this one day. I just keep it right there, just like that. But I am making a short film, as I announced last day vlog. I don't know if I'm going to use this in it. I want to, but I still have to kind of work it into the plans at some point, because as of right now, I don't know if I'm going to use it in that, but I'll probably be using it in a movie or something soon, maybe this year. But yeah, so it's basically just a C4 thing. Of course, it's not like insanely realistic looking, but yeah, so if I use duct tape, put a little timer, I use some of my silver paint, put like 91 seconds, and then the little keypad, the little, I can't remember what they're called, one of those things, I can't remember what they're called, but then C4 explosive right there, and then 2 rubber bands, the little red thing that I poked holes in, super glued it, so it's kind of like the wire, and then one of these little, like, kind of electronic, tape pieces, and then I took a piece of wood, spray painted it black, and put it, super glued it on the side. And this is actually a Bean Boozled box we used for the Bean Boozled challenge, which I just wrapped in paper. But yeah, and then I also just kind of colored on my finger a little bit, and kind of just wiped it on there to kind of give it a little dirty look or something. So yeah, so that's my little C4 prop there that I'm going to use somewhat soon, probably. But yeah, so next up over here is my updated little car poster thing. So of course episode, or the last day vlog, we showed the pictures from the car show, and that we went to recently, and I added the second Hellcat, because the first one I saw was right there, for the Challenger Hellcats. I added that, and then my favorite Jeep Wrangler I've ever seen, and I finally printed out big, because it used to just be small right there. So that's that, just real quick. And then my updated movie poster wall. This one is actually not that movie poster wall, my movie poster wall. This is actually pretty big, because this is the first ever unveiling. I haven't even shown it on social media yet, but this is the official poster for my upcoming short film called Solo Revolution. I haven't came out with like an official release date yet, but I'm thinking either I believe it's a Friday, but June 8th or something like that. But I'll have to make sure. But yeah, so this is my poster. There it is, supposed to be kind of like a little fun sci-fi movie type thing, with like giant monster movie type stuff, kind of, inspired by like the 60s and 50s, kind of sci-fi movies and stuff. We also have a definite, little reference to, The Day the Earth Stood Still, but yeah, and then that's an actual background, from a movie called, Forbidden Planet. And then I just put a little flying saucer right there, and then Brendan Wood, Solo Revolution, which I actually drew that and then put it on there. And then all the names, Caleb Geiger, Brendan Wood, Taco El Pucho Wood, Bridgeton Wood, Zelda Hedgie, Gracie, Gecko, and Zenith. So there's all the little pets that get all big and attack the city. And then we actually use toy soldiers in one scene, so I actually put toy soldiers on the poster. And then, of course, BW2 Films Technicolor, because that's like on every old poster. And then kind of like that, you can probably barely see it, but there is like a little like tannish kind of outline there. And then me and Caleb, and then a tower that plays a big part in the film called Illusion Incorporated. So yeah, so that is my new poster. Really like that one. Definitely one of my more favorite posters up there. And then also we're finally going to be filming Donnie the Dino Chapter 4 pretty darn soon, since it's finally not snowing anymore. Hopefully it's not going to snow anymore. But also over here you might have noticed I did have both my Clash of Clans drawing right here, but now they're over there. And now my Clash of Clans drawings are over here because I drew my third and probably most likely final one, because yes, I just decided to go all out and draw all the rest of the troops. Because if you were watching last June, I said that I was just going to draw this to just to draw like my favorite troops or the ones that I use the most in the game. And then my second one I actually drew about a month after that one, which is just this really small one, but that one's kind of scattered. This one's really symmetrical. And then I not only drew 4 more troops, or 3 more troops and a hero, but I also drew an air bomb, a seeking air mine, a rage spell, and a lightning spell. But now this is my other one. Yes, this one's even bigger than my original one. This one has 12 characters, that one has 8. But basically I just went all out and drew the original one, because it's, bigger one. Because as you will see later in this day vlog with my Clash of Clans account update, I now have every single one of the troops and spells in the whole entire game, including the builder base. The only thing I do not have is the Grand Warden, because of course my Town Hall is still level 10, so I probably won't have him for a while, but I just got builders. So yeah, so I will show that in a little bit, but yeah, so of course my favorite mobile game, one of my favorite video games of all time. Yeah, so basically this one I did draw 12 troops, and I thought I was going to be done, but I just went even farther and drew a few more things. I just drew a little random spring trap right there with my signature thing right there. And then I drew my first dark spell, the earthquake spell, and then the last spell, the cloning spell right there. But yeah, so of course that's the healer right there. I even drew a little healing bubble, and then the lava hound, the balloon, the minion, the dragon. Of course that's the baby dragon right there. And then I didn't draw the builder based troops because of course pretty much every single one of them, I believe, except for the cannon cart, is just like the same troops from the main base, just with like different variations and stuff, like the raged barbarian instead of the barbarian. But I did draw one thing, which is of course the hero from the builder's base, the master builder in the battle machine. And of course I have him kind of running, and I even drew the little wood grains and stuff with the lightning coming out of his hammer. And then yeah, and then right there of course the giant, the Grand Warden right there, and then the miner coming out of a little hole there, the goblin dropping some gold coins, the bowler, and then the witch. And of course I would have drawn some skeletons around her, but the reason I didn't is because on this one I was just like, oh, it's simple to draw, so I just drew a little skeleton. So that is the skeleton. The same skeleton, of course, that comes out of the skeleton traps and the witch spawns. Of course, I don't use witches on my main base. I only use them on my builder base, the night witches. I just think they're a lot better than the main witches. Because the other ones, when they're spawning skeletons, it like takes forever. Because they come out of the ground and stuff, and it just takes a long time. But bats, they just stop, spawn them, and go. But yeah, so that's all my Clash of Clans drawing. Every single one of the troops and heroes. And then basically I just took down 2 of my, I just moved that drawing from there up to there, and took down 2 of my Deadpool drawings, because I have these 4 and then my Photoshop picture right there, which these are all my good ones. Of course the 2 I took down I didn't think were really that good. They were these 2, which I will show right now. But yeah, so I just took those 2 down. I just don't think they're really amazing, and that one on the line paper, while it's cool, I don't think it really deserves to be that big, like a full sheet of paper taking up room on my door. So yeah, but yeah, it's my new drawing. So other than that, that is pretty much it for now. So I'm going, because there's not any new movie collection updates quite yet. Okay guys, so now onto my movie poster, or my updated movie poster wall. So last time we left off with 300 right there, of course. But the next one is Ready Player One, which of course in my review I mentioned that I really love the poster, especially after you see the movie. Which you can't really see it. One of the things you can't really see at all, which was what I was talking about with the X1 suit advertisement on the stacks, because you can see the stacks in the background right there. Kind of. Yeah, there you go. But right there, I can barely even see it too, but there's an actual ad for the X1 suit. And then right there you can actually see, I can't remember his name, Anorak, that's his name. And then of course, all the main characters in real life, of course that's Dido and Sho, and then H, and then Wade as Parzival, and then Samantha as Artemis. And then of course there's the two creators right there. And then of course some of the ships and stuff used in the movie. And what I really like is how he's like taking off his headgear and everything, and he's like holding his fist up, and then right there his character Parzival actually is like holding up his fist, kind of holding up his fist right there, and then he's actually like having his hand like he's taking off his headgear. And then you actually have TJ Miller's character right there, IROC, and then the Iron Giant, and just a few of them. So yeah, I really like that poster right there. And then of course there's an actual little Easter egg in the O right there. So next up is For a Few Dollars More. Again, it is part of the Sergio Leone trilogy, including it started with A Fistful of Dollars, and then For a Few Dollars More, and then of course The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which I talked about, I believe, last day vlog. But you can see my poster back there in the corner, which that's surprisingly the highest rated of them all. It is one of those rare trilogies where it starts out already like a masterpiece. It started out like 8.1, then it went to like 8.4 with this one, I believe, and then the last one, the third one of the, I believe that one has like an 8.8. It's one of the highest rated movies of all time, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. But this one I like just about as much, because this one was a lot less, this one was a lot less like serious, and it definitely, like, there's some scenes that were just so random and just really quirky and everything. But yeah, so it has, of course, Clint Eastwood once again, and I can't remember his name right now, but his friend that he wasn't friends with him on there, but on that one he kind of works with a little more. And then the next one is Seven, of course, with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman and Kevin Spacey as the John Doe. And of course this one is directed by one of the best working directors in still working today, David Fincher, which also directed, of course, Fight Club. And if it was just a little bit shorter, it would be one of my favorite movies. But Zodiac back there, of course, my custom poster that I really like, that I add on to. But basically this was a lot like Zodiac, but a little less shorter and everything. But I still don't like it as much as Zodiac. But of course it's the one where Brad Pitt yells like, "What's in the box?" So yeah, but it's basically about a guy kind of going around killing people for disobeying the 7 deadly sins and stuff. And I just have to say, like, when Kevin Spacey's character, like, just walked into the, when they're, like, chasing him down and stuff, and they weren't showing his face or anything, but then all of a sudden, like, as Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman's characters just walk into the police department, and he just, like, shows up and yells his name and everything, like, he's just about to, like, go on a rampage or something, and then they just turn around, and he's just, like, covered in blood. Like, that was a pretty shocking little introduction, and I really liked Kevin Spacey's character in that. And now he just cut off all of his, like, fingertips to cover his fingerprints and stuff. And then The Lost City of Z, it is a jungle movie based on a true story about one of Britain's greatest explorers, and it has Charlie Hunnam. Definitely, I don't know if I've seen anything else with him in it, but he also played in King Arthur and stuff. But yeah, so Charlie Hunnam, Robert Pattinson, which has definitely been doing better now, because he was, of course, Edward in Twilight, Twilight movies, but this one he was really good in, definitely a lot more ground-based. And then, of course, one of the movies that I really liked, that I talked about last day vlog right there, Good Time. He was also the main character in that one. But then also has Tom Holland, you guys all know him, but yeah, it was kind of a little depressing movie, but it was also a really good war film at one point, and just an adventure movie, and it's from the producers of 12 Years a Slave and Moonlight, 2 Best Picture winners. So yeah, so that was a pretty darn good movie. It's an Amazon original, so if you have Amazon Prime, or you're an Amazon Prime member, definitely check that out. Okay, so the next poster is over here. I took down one of them right there and put my new one right there, which is, of course, the original Friday the 13th, because that became free on Amazon Prime, I believe, not too long ago, and, of course, I'm a member, so I watched that. None of the other ones are free, but, yeah, so, and, of course, I watched the other, his not-so-much friend, the original A Nightmare on Elm Street right there, a while ago, of course, but now I've watched that, so I really like the poster with, like, the characters right there and the outline and everything. I didn't actually know that Jason doesn't get his mask, until the third movie. On the second one, he just has a bag over his head, and on this one, it turns out, I didn't even know this, but I guess his mom is actually the main villain, and he just kind of jumps out of the lake, looking like some alien thing at the end of the movie. But, yeah, so really like that poster. It wasn't that great of a movie. Some parts were good. I think it was a little bit too long, but it was okay. But also, it's just a very iconic original movie, kind of like, the original Nightmare on Elm Street. Back over here, of course, speaking of Jungles on Lost City of Z, the next one, I have now started going up here, because I thought after that I was going to have to move somewhere else, but I am now moving up here, and then I'm probably going to go down that whole area, and then maybe after that I'll finally have to go there, because the next one is Jungle. I've been thinking about watching it for a while, but my dad found it on Amazon Prime, I think like a month ago now. But we just decided to watch that one night, and that was actually pretty darn good. It was a really good survival movie. Some of the visuals were really great, and, yeah, Daniel Radcliffe was pretty darn good. It also had the guy from my favorite found footage film of all time, Chronicle, not the main guy, can't remember his name, but the second, the second supporting actor on it. And then next up is Wonder. Of course, a lot of you probably know this. It was nominated for a few Oscars, and it's based on a book, which I've never read. I believe only my dad and my family's read it. But yeah, so it really got my mom and my dad, but it did not have my eyes watering on this one, probably because of course I don't have kids and I don't really want to have kids, but yeah, so, but that was a pretty darn good movie. It did kind of have that bad movie, habit where they kind of feel like they have multiple endings, but yeah, so it kind of did get a little long, but, definitely a pretty good movie, and it had the little kid that was also on Room, which is a very good movie with Brie Larson up there. And then next up is Walk the Line. We've actually had this on DVD upstairs for quite a darn while now. But yeah, so it's basically, it's directed by the same guy that directed one of my favorite superhero movies of all time, of course, Logan. But yeah, so he also directed that. This is back from 2005, so actually only 2 years after Johnny Cash passed away. But yeah, so I don't like country music. Some people consider Johnny Cash as country music, which if he is officially country music, he's pretty much the only country music I like. There's a few other country songs I like, but pretty darn rare, but that's kind of the cool poster for it that I really like, him standing back with the guitar. So I watched it a long time ago, but all I remember was like his brother getting killed by the table saw. But that's about it. But other than that, I just decided to watch that one night, because of course it's directed by the guy who directed Logan, and he's really good at making like neo-western type things, which is kind of what both the movies were like. And also it had a pretty high rating, and it looked pretty good, so I just decided to watch it again. And of course, music's great. Pretty much all the acting is great, and I really, really like that. Of course, you saw my drawing at the beginning, so yeah. If you ever get the chance to check out that, definitely check that out. And another cool thing is my grandma, she's actually my mom's stepmom pretty much, but her brother, he passed away, I think he passed away in like 2006 or something, so just a little bit after Johnny Cash, but him and some friends were actually huge fans of Johnny Cash. And if you know the band called Cold Hard Cash, one of my uncles was actually, or my great uncle I guess, was actually a part of that, which I will show you one of their albums right now. Yes, so under the bathroom sink we have quite a few albums. Of course, we don't buy CDs or anything anymore, but back when we did at some point, this is one of them. Of course, this isn't Cold Hard Cash, but this is the Legend of Johnny Cash. Basically all of his greatest hits, but yeah, so you can just see all of them there. Pretty much almost all of these were on Walk the Line, and of course Hurt there's like somewhat remixed, not too much though, but that one was, of course, on the Logan trailers, and The Man Comes Around was also on the credits for Logan. So of course you can tell they're directed by the same guy, and he obviously loves Johnny Cash, because I mean, made a whole movie about him, and then quite a few years later made almost a lot of the soundtrack for Logan, Johnny Cash. Yeah, so pretty much I like all these all these songs. But yeah, so then of course with the inside, that's pretty darn cool to do that. But yeah, so you just have the little thing right there, and then the cool disc, which is actually like kind of different feeling, like matte black kind of. An album, it's actually unopened, it still has the shrink wrap on it, which I'm kind of here. But yeah, so this is actually the Cold Hard Cash, a tribute to Johnny Cash. I'm pretty sure they made like more records than this, because not all of these are even Johnny Cash's songs. Most of them are, because they say J.R. Cash. On the front, you can see a Cold Hard Cash tribute to Johnny Cash, and they have all of them kind of looking like drawn or some computer animation. But yeah, so that's of course the Johnny Cash. It's not him, but and then those two, and I believe that is my great uncle right there. He just looks the most like my grandma, like he'd be related. All those other people don't really look like they'd be related to me at all. Yeah, so, which I guess they're not technically blood related to me, but yeah, but then that's them in real life. So yeah, I think that's just pretty darn cool. So yeah, so of course, that's Johnny Cash, and then his band was originally called Johnny Cash and the Tennessee 2, I believe. But towards the end of the movie, he got it Johnny Cash and the Tennessee 3. So yeah, so that's that. I just thought that was kind of cool. I never really talked about that on the channel, but my grandma has a poster of their band and stuff too. But next up is King Kong. Finally got around to watching it. It was on Netflix, and believe it or not, that was one of my favorite movies when I was a little kid. I remember watching it quite a bit. I did not know that it was 3 hours long, like 3 hours and 7 minutes or something like that, which of course is not near the longest movie I've seen. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, I used to watch that a lot. But I really want to see the original 1933 one. We were watching clips of movies in genre with the stop motion and rear projection and everything. So whenever I get the chance, I will watch that. Not all the bad ones, like Kong Skull Island, I don't think is horrible. I still haven't watched that yet. I've heard that it's fun, but not really a great film. But then like the bad ones, like the original King Kong vs. Godzilla, and then there's like so many remakes. There's like King Kong Lives, and then like another remake of King Kong. This is the only... The 1933 one and this one are the only like actual good films, I think. But this one's directed, of course, by Peter Jackson, and it's the one with Andy Serkis actually playing a motion capture character, King Kong, and a real life character, which is like the chef on the boat. So that's pretty surprising, because rarely do you see him as just playing real life humans. He's usually almost always just motion capture, but to see him play both is pretty darn rare, because the only movie I've seen him play even like not a motion capture character in quite a while was of course Black Panther, because he played, and Age of Ultron, I guess, because he played Ulysses Klaue. But of course that one was very, very good. I honestly love that just as much as when I was a little kid, and I think I can see how I watched that, because it's like pretty much entertaining the whole way through, and just the visuals, especially like, because I know it's 2005, but I mean like the like motion capture and CGI on that movie was like better than a lot of movies nowadays even. Like that was just pretty crazy. But yeah, so another cool thing that Mr. Wiles, my film teacher, taught us, a cool little fact about that, is the pilots of the planes that of course take down Kong at the end of the movie are actually played by some of like the puppeteers and animators that worked on movies like The Dark Crystal and just a lot of the earlier movies. Some, I believe, even worked on the original King Kong. Yeah, so now, of course, like Jim Henson, Frank Oz and stuff, but people like, I can't remember his name right now. Yeah, so, but they actually played the pilots, so, on that one, a few of them, so, we just think that's kind of cool, because it's like, because of course like the puppeteers and stuff that used to animate with like puppets and animatronics and stuff kind of got taken down by their careers and everything by CGI and motion capture and all that. So in King Kong's kind of one of the first movies that really started that stuff. So yeah, so it's kind of cool. They get to like the puppeteers and animatronic people get to kind of shoot down the thing that would take them down soon, shoot down the CGI. But yeah, so another cool thing is on what I learned is on the original Star Wars Episode 4: New Hope, is that they actually, for the Canyon Run Death Star scene, they actually like physically built the part for it. and then they actually filmed either on the side, like on the side of walls, or completely upside down for like the explosions and stuff. That way the sparks would like go down and like not look like there's gravity on them, and they wouldn't just like fly all over, so it would look more realistic like they're in space. So 2 cool little movie facts for you. So yeah, so next up is Kubo and the Two Strings. It's one of the better animated movies I've heard of in the past few years, I believe, and surprisingly it's not made by Disney, which like almost every animated movie is nowadays. But yeah, so this one I really like the animation. Of course it's not stop motion, but it's that thing that's like actually computer generated, that's kind of meant to look like stop motion, kind of like the Lego movie and the Lego Batman movie and all that. But of course those are my favorite animation. I just love how they like make it look so realistic, and they actually like add like scratches and like all this cool little material stuff on the Lego movie and the Lego Batman movie and all that. But I would say it's probably not my second animation, but definitely some of my favorites. So but yeah, so I just heard that was pretty good. I'm pretty sure it's nominated for a few Oscars. It has Matthew McConaughey that does a voice, and Charlize Theron and not Taika Waititi, George Takei, the original Captain Sulu, and just a few other people. So Ralph Fiennes. So yeah, so that was pretty darn good. I really liked the characters and how he like made the paper fly to tell the stories and everything. That was really cool animation. And also those little witch sister people were pretty darn creepy. And pretty much every scene, it was one of those movies where like every cliche you think is about to happen doesn't, and they actually like, I mean, both of the monkey and the little beetle guy, or the big beetle guy, they actually like kill them off. Like most Disney movies, they would like last second, it would be like main character would be about to get killed, and then they would like still be alive and save the day. But no, this one like actually just kills them off, which is pretty darn rare, especially for kids movies. But I also love like the leaf boat that he made. That was really cool and everything. But yeah, so, and then last for this day vlog is Harry and the Hendersons. Pretty low rated from critics and fans, but it's actually one of Mr. Wild's favorite movies. Of course, I watched his favorite movie and talked about a few day vlogs ago, which is, of course, A Fish Called Wanda right there. But this is one of his favorite ones. Of course, we're learning about, we just got done learning about, like, puppets and animatronics and stuff. And this one, the guy that was in that actually, he actually also played inside the Predator suit. And this one is, both of them are like mixed with like someone in the suit and animatronics. But I think it's a lot better than a lot of people say, because there's this one scene where he like first gets into the house and it's like all dark, and then he drops a flashlight and it's like spinning, and then he's like running around, it's like silhouette and everything, and it's just like, it's actually a pretty cool creative lighting scene. And there's also this one scene where he's like about to shoot him and was like backlit, so he's just like silhouette and everything. So pretty darn good lighting, and also like we were just laughing in movies and genre because like all of his little gestures and stuff and facial expressions and everything, it's pretty darn good, and actually won an Oscar for makeup. It wasn't the first one, I don't believe, the first one for makeup, I can't remember what that was right now. The first one for makeup was, of course, An American Werewolf in London right there. But the guy who, John Landis and everything, they did like the makeup for that using like these things called bladders, which not like human bladders. They actually like, they're makeup things that actually like puff up to make it look like skin's growing or something. And they won the first ever Oscar for best makeup, even though I guess it's makeup on that movie technically, but then they won the next one for this, which that's pretty much not makeup, it's just a suit and animatronics. But it was really, really cool. And it was pretty darn funny. Of course, a lot of people will say it's cliched and not too funny, but that's from the 80s and everything, which late 80s, which is a lot of the era that a lot of movies came out that started like tropes and cliches and bad humor and stuff. But I mean, like, that's just by like today's standards, but back then it was all new, so technically it's fine. Because that came out before it was all cliche, and plus it's set in like Seattle and everything, like out of town Seattle and all that. So if you saw the Seattle trip video, you would have saw a lot of the scenes that or a lot of the filming locations from that movie, because the bridge that you go, the big old bridge that you like walk under from going from the gum wall to like down where the big wheel and everything. Of course, the big wheel wasn't built when that movie came out yet, but there's also the Space Needle and everything. But we actually walked under that bridge, and I actually have a picture of it and some videos and everything. And they also filmed around the Space Needle and also on the highway that we went from my aunt's house to Seattle when we went to Seattle and there. So yeah, so that's pretty much it for the movie posters. Alright guys, now for the final thing, the Clash of Clans account update. So just to go through this real quick. So yeah, so of course you can see I've been upgrading my wall. What I'm mainly working on right now is upgrading all the rest of my wall to level 8. Of course, last episode, I believe all this wall was new because I just showed that my town hall is level 10 now. But I got that all upgraded, of course, to level 7. Now that's currently the wall that I'm working on getting upgraded to level 8, and that's almost done on both sides. And then I just have that little bit around there and there to do. But yeah, so I've been winning a lot more defenses, though, because my ratio isn't that bad. Because you can see my attacks at 49, defenses 1 is 36. It used to be like, for example, 49 and 13. It used to be pretty bad. Yeah, so, and then I'm still Crystal League 1. But yeah, so that's my base. But the other thing is I finally got like a brand new defense to me anyway. I finally got my first ever Inferno Tower. I can currently get 2, but probably not gonna get my second one for a while. Not after I'm done upgrading all my wall and everything, of course. But yeah, so I got my first Inferno Tower, and I have it set for multiple. You reload it with Dark Elixir, and you can do that, and it does that, which is a lot stronger because it like starts out weak, but then it like gets bigger and really does some damage. But yeah, and then I also got my third X-Bow, so that's pretty darn awesome. Of course, it's still level 1. That one and that one are level 2. And they have been for quite a while now, but that one's still level 1. And I got a second bomb tower, so that one's of course level 2, has been for quite a while now. And then that one's level 1. But other than that, I don't know what, oh yeah, I also got my third Dark Elixir Drill. These two are, of course, level 5. Dark Elixir Storage is max level 6. But then Dark Elixir Storage, I got that upgrade to level 3 now. But then, yeah, so the only thing, I'm actually, for once, not building anything or upgrading anything. As you can see, I have 5 out of 5 builders. The only thing I'm doing is upgrading, which I'm upgrading my first ever troop to above level 6, or I mean above level 5, of course. My rage spell is max level. That's my only max level thing on my main base, but yeah, I'm upgrading my archer to level 6 because I use my P.E.K.K.A.'s archers, wall breakers, and then of course both my heroes that I have. Yeah, so that's my main base. I don't know if I mentioned, or I don't know if I really forgot anything, but by the next episode I think I should have all my wall upgrades to level 8, but if not, then yeah. But yes, so that is that. But other than that, you can see that these are still, all 3 of those barracks are still level 10, but that one's now level 12. And then that one's still level 5 of my Dark Barracks, and that one is now level 7, which is, of course, max level for that, and max level for that. Which, if you have been watching, towards the beginning of the video when I was showing that drawing, I said that I now have every single troop in the game, which, yes, this is a pretty big Clash of Clans account update, because, yes, I have every single troop in the game, except for one of the heroes, the Grand Warden, of course, because I won't be getting him for a while, because, of course, you can't get him until you get upgraded Town Hall, which I will not be doing for a while. But yeah, so I'm also now at level 106. But yeah, so that is very awesome to see. And even yes, I'm counting Builder Base. I have had all those troops for quite a while now. And I don't know why that's not flaming. I did get my Rage Barbarians once again. Every update, it makes it so the max level is even higher, and now the max level is 16, so I did get them to max level. I don't know why it's not flaming, but yeah, they're max level now, so I don't know. But yeah, so then I upgraded my archers to 15. I'm currently upgrading my super P.E.K.K.A.s to level 4, because you guys know my usual battle plan. Or first off, that's it for my my main base. So if you want to take a little picture or whatever of that for some odd reason, then of course all my forts, my statues, if you didn't see that last episode. But yeah, anyway, so on to Builder Base. My new main attack thing is, you know that I used to attack with that's it now. I used to attack with 40 Rage Barbarians, 20 Sneaky Archers, and then my battle machine. But now I think it's kind of better anyway to battle with my with 2, 4, 6, yeah, 8 level 2 or 8 level 14 currently night witches, and then 2 2 level 3 super P.E.K.K.A.s, which are currently upgrading to level 4, and then my battle machine. But yeah, so as you can see, I have a ton of plans, which I don't usually, but that's because what I'm currently working on this base is upgrading my 3 archer towers to level 8, max level 8. So you can see this one is almost done. They take 3 days to upgrade to level 8. This one only has 6 hours and 46 minutes left, so that will be done in not just a little bit. And it takes 2.8 million, so I really don't need that much. So that's good, because by the time most of these are done upgrading, then I can pretty much just spend just a little bit longer saving up, and then I can move on to the next one. So those will definitely all be level 8 by the next Clash of Clans account update. But I also got my giant cannon to level 5. My 4th firecrackers to level 4. The other 3 are level 6. But then I also got, I believe I didn't show this last episode, my hidden Tesla, or my 3rd hidden Tesla to level 6. And then I also got all 3 of my gold mines and all 3 of my elixir collectors all to max level 8. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. I don't think I really did much else on my base here. Oh yeah, the last thing I guess is kind of big. I actually upgraded my clock tower and my star laboratory to max level 8. So those are both now max level once again. Which that's kind of big, because now this does 10-minute boost. And this, of course, I can upgrade more troops and stuff. So yeah, so I believe that's pretty much it. And I don't know if I showed this last episode, but I got the last statue that I wanted, the Archer Queen statue on this one. I don't know if I showed that, but yeah, so that's pretty much it for this Clash of Clans account update. I don't think there's much left. The main big thing is that I literally have every single troop, which I'm so happy about. Like, I remember when I used to see, like, Clash of Clans players, and I was just like, wow, they have, like, every single troop. That's so cool. But now I do. Of course, they're not, like, as cool when it's just, like, everything, including the Grand Warden, everything's flaming max level. Yeah, so, and then achievements, I don't think I've really completed any more, since the last one, but, of course, I've gotten farther on some. Yeah, so, that's pretty much it for this Clash of Clans account update, and for this day vlog. So, none of you watched all the way through this, but if you did, thank you so much. You are some weird human. Yeah, so make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Bye!